Welcome to this presentation where I will dive into the nutritional and medicinal properties of hemp in food. You see, hemp is a very interesting plant from various perspectives. However, being illegal for over 50 years in most countries around the world, it has made it a bit difficult to use. And you see, at some point in history, hemp was not only prohibited, it was utterly demonized. Hemp, cleverly being referred to as marijuana, became this hideous plant that should be avoided at all costs. And this is just so sad and stupid, as it has so much to offer, especially when it comes to our health. Now, there's a lot of myths about hemp consumption, which might make it a little bit exciting to use, especially in food. But at the same time, this makes hemp very much misunderstood. So I would like to talk you through the various parts of hemp you can use as a key ingredient in many different kinds of food preparation. As you will see, it's actually very versatile, while at the same time being both a medicine as a highly nutritious and delicious ingredient. In this first part of my presentation, I would like to zoom into the part of the plant that has been having the most attention lately, for apparently there are much more compounds to be found than the one compound that mainly creates a high. I will also reveal a little bit about why these cannabis compounds work so beneficial for so many different illnesses. You will be amazed to find out that our bodies actually seem to be made for this beautiful plant. And also please note I'm using the word hemp, while this is the agricultural crop that is allowed in the Netherlands and most European countries. As a matter of fact, hemp and cannabis are the same. However, with the word cannabis, there often are some negative connotations. More about that is explained in my other video about hemp, cannabis and weed. Now let's first take a closer look at what hemp looks like. In the center of the slide you can see the full plant from root to top. And did you know, as a matter of fact, every single plant of hemp can be used for many different purposes, whether nutritional, medicinal or industrial. The parts that are mainly used in cooking are the seeds and its derived products. Hemp leaves and flowers combined make an excellent tea. In the flowers, medicinal compounds are formed in the resin that is produced by the flowers. If a flower, however, gets pollinated, it will also start producing seed. If left unpollinated, the flowers will keep growing and producing more and more chemicals. Some of those are called cannabinoids, and later on in my presentation you will learn that humans, and as a matter of fact animals too, have a very special relationship with them. On the left you see the hemp flowers. In the top left corner you can see a cured and dried flower. Before drying, the leaves are cut off as they do not produce cannabinoids and they can be used for different purposes. You might recognize these dried flower buds as weed from the coffee shops or as the medicinal cannabis that's provided in the pharmacies. Flowers can contain various amounts of CBD, THC and other compounds. On the right side you see the hemp seeds. In the bottom right, you see the seeds as they are still inside the hemp flower. On the top right, you see the seeds after harvesting. Hemp flowers can definitely be used in the kitchen too. Be aware, however, that depending on the type of hemp or cannabis, the flowers can contain large amounts of THC, which is the compound that can give you an altered state of mind and can give you all kinds of side effects. This can be loads of fun, of course, if that is what was expected. It definitely gives a new definition to high cuisine. Besides tea, flowers are mainly used to make extracts for food supplements, edibles, and cosmetics. Flowers can be juiced too. And interesting enough, fresh hemp flowers contain 0 to no THC. This is only formed after a natural process of decarboxylation, which happens when you dry and heat a flower. Should you eat a raw hemp flower, chances are very rare you will get any high or other side effects. We will now take a closer look at the flower. As you can clearly see, there is a white layer covering it. This is the resin that contains all medicinal chemicals. This resin contains cannabinoids that have medicinal properties. If we zoom even further, we see that this white layer consists of little mushroom-shaped sticks. These are called trichomes. And if you ever touch the hemp flower, you know that this resin feels really very sticky. And it's because the compounds in the resin are mainly lipophilic. That means that they bind easy to fats and not to water. The picture on the right is a microscopic zoom showing what I like to call the nursery of cannabinoids, terpenes and flavonoids. There has been lots of research done on the medicinal properties of cannabinoids and other hemp compounds, especially the last decades. Let me share with you a fun story of a man that has meant a lot for the cannabis research community, Professor Raphael McCollum. Often being referred to as the founder or godfather even of cannabis science, Professor McCollum was the first to isolate CBD and THC. At the time of his study, cannabis was illegal and therefore was often smuggled. In Israel, where he lived at the time, the police had a huge amount of confiscated hashish, which is pressed cannabis flower, and they just had it stored at their local office. McCollum, who worked at the Weizmann Institute at the time, asked his supervisor to contact the police and ask if he could please have some of this hashish for his research. And you know what? After some back and forth calling, they agreed. And so, because he didn't have a car at the time, McCollum would simply take the bus to the police station every single week to take some of the hashish with him. And you know what? He just took it with him in his briefcase. And I don't know if you ever smelled hashish or cannabis, but it has this very distinct, very intense smell. And so the people around him in the bus, after some time, started to wonder, what is this smell? Having isolated the compounds in a laboratory, he now wanted to know through which mechanisms cannabis works in the body, and so he decided to invite all of his friends for a party. His wife could bake a delicious cake, and so he served everyone a slice, and then he also dropped an exact same amount of cannabis extract on every piece. He then just waited and observed. The results were quite surprising. Cannabis seemed to have various effects on people. Most of them were just very chill and wanted to relax and hang out a little bit, while others had immense cravings that we all recognize as the munchies, eating everything all at once. Others felt the need to just talk and talk and talk, while others just couldn't stop laughing. Though very rare, some people had a less pleasant experience. They felt as if vulnerable and anxious, scared of sound and light. McCollum and his team discovered there are many different kinds of cannabinoids. Since his research, there have been over 120 different kinds of cannabinoids discovered, each with their own unique effect in our mind and body. Some of them are psychoactive, most of them, however, are not. As a matter of fact, the main compound that will give a high is called THC. In the raw cannabis plant, however, THC doesn't yet exist. Its precursor, THCA, which is the acid form of THC, is not psychoactive at all. Every cannabinoid has an acid precursor. Also CBD, like I explained before, after a process called decarboxylation, which takes place when you heat or dry a flower, the acid forms into the eventual cannabinoid. Both forms, acid and eventual, are highly medicinal. Besides cannabinoids, hemp flowers also contain two other important compounds, terpenes and flavonoids. These are molecules that give smell and taste to fruit, vegetables, herbs, and spices. They all have their own unique effect in our bodies, and they enhance each other's effects too. This is known as the entourage effect. Important to remember is that the effect of all compounds together is much more beneficial than a single molecule that you often see in regular treatments. You need actually the whole plant to support your health in the very best way possible. Nowadays, we know that there are many different kinds of camivars or cannabis varieties, as you may want to call it. Each has a unique profile of cannabinoids, flavonoids, and terpenes. Let's now compare two of the best known and best researched cannabinoids, CBD and THC. They both have the exact same molecular formula, C21H30O2. However, their effect in body and brain is very different. The main difference is that THC has this strong high effect, and CBD doesn't have this at all. THC has a risk of promoting anxiety, and there is a risk of addiction. However, we should not forget that THC has loads of medicinal properties too. It is best known for its sedative, pain-killing effects while stimulating appetite and helping against nausea. CBD has no notable side effects and is scientifically been demonstrated to be well tolerated in humans up to 1500 milligrams a day. CBD inhibits the high effect of THC and is best known for its anti-epileptic, anti-anxiety effects. It helps very well with stress and concentration issues and is a good sleep aid as well. Both compounds have a lot in common too. They are antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, anti-cancer. They have neuroprotective properties and they both dilate blood vessels. And the crazy thing is that while THC is an illegal substance in most countries worldwide, the use of CBD is subject to law as well. For example, here in the Netherlands, where we can sell CBD, but we are not allowed to produce it. And also dosage is bound to law. In the Netherlands, the maximum dosage of CBD as a food supplement is limited to 160 milligrams a day. This is because Dutch authorities noticed a medicinal effect above this amount, and so then it should be a medicine and not a supplement. It would, so to say, apply to a different law. Cannabinoids like CBD have a unique way of getting into our bodies. It was the work of Raphael McCullum and his international team of scientists that led to the amazing discovery that our bodies have special cannabinoid binding receptors, or CB receptors for short. For cannabinoids like CBD and THC, these receptors can be found in all parts of our bodies, in the membranes of our cells. They are like a kind of lock to the inside of our cells, and they make it possible for each cell to communicate with its surroundings. The moment a molecule, like say a cannabinoid, binds to a receptor, this works like a key in a lock. It promotes a certain effect within the cell. We have receptors for many different kinds of compounds, and also for cannabinoids from cannabis. And as a matter of fact, we make cannabinoids ourselves, which are called endocannabinoids, or body-owned cannabinoids. These endocannabinoids and the cannabinoid binding receptors form what we call now the endocannabinoid system. This is a self-learning system that continuously keeps our body in balance, and this applies to every system in our body. It gives nerves the ability to communicate in two ways, something previously thought to be impossible. The receptors are incredibly important for recovery and repair. Cannabinoids like CBD influence our endocannabinoid system, which explains why it has so many different health effects. The endocannabinoid system is one of the most important physiologic systems involved in establishing and maintaining health. Our bodies are continuously under attack by oxidating and inflammatory processes. While oxidation and inflammation are often very beneficial processes, too much of it can lead to disease. Bringing back the balance is essential for our health, and this is exactly what our endocannabinoid system does. Think of balance in fat burn, in cell growth, immune system. Neither of them should be too little or too much. Whenever a sensation is sent from body to brain, or other way around, nerve cells are fired. The more intense the experience, the more frequent the nerve cells fire. So then the endocannabinoid system, or the endocannabinoids, are sent in the exact opposite direction towards the neuron, and in this way they can restore balance. In an article written by Dr. Elder, he concluded that the endocannabinoid system is literally a bridge between body and mind. And to help support our endocannabinoid system, making the right choices when it comes to food is essential. Our bodies need the right and essential fatty acids and amino acids in order to produce healthy proteins. And this is exactly what the beautiful hemp plant provides for us, as I will dive into more deeply in part 2 of this presentation, where I will tell you all about the nutritional health effects of hemp seeds in food. In a 2004 research paper, Professor Ethan Russo discussed the possibilities of a shortage in endocannabinoids. This would explain why it's so difficult to treat some conditions like cancer, fibromyalgia, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, and other treatment-resistant conditions. In his conclusion, Russo stated that cannabis has become a therapeutic compass to what modern medicine fails to cure. I now came to the end of this part of my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it and found it very educative. In the second part, I will dive into other parts of hemp in food, so stay tuned. Should you have any questions regarding hemp or CBD, please do not hesitate to contact me. Would you like to learn more? Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and make sure to click the notifications button below. Thank you for watching and see you all again soon.